Hey everyone, and welcome back to my channel. I'm Leslie from Joleelee Creations, and today we are going to be making the Itty Bitty Boxy Bag by Oklaroots. I absolutely adore this pattern and make it often for walking dogs, for little poop bag holders, but it can be used for practically anything. It is lined with waterproof canvas and has a cotton exterior. I've added a grommet hole, and a roll of poop bags just fits right in perfect. So you can zip it up, clip it to your leash, and take it on the go. After making that one for the video, I decided to give it a go with clear TPU and made this adorable little boxy bag. It also has a D-ring to clip. I didn't put a grommet in this one, but it can be perfect for anything. Add to your keys, add to a backpack, and take it on the go with you. Her original video has the measurements for the bag, but she has recently came out with acrylic templates. There is a piece for the exterior with a grommet hole already marked. We have a piece for the lining, and also can be a directional exterior fabric complete with the grommet hole, the D-ring tab template, and a little guide for the box corners. It really helps to get those box corners consistent every time. These both are really quick sew, so let's get started. For our fabric version, I am using a cotton woven lined with a woven interfacing. I'm using waterproof canvas for the inside, and I have two lining pieces cut for that. I'm using a matching cotton accent for the tabs on the side, and since I'm going to be attaching a clasp to it, I have cut a strip of waterproof canvas that I'm going to put inside of my D-ring tabs just for a little bit more stability. And we need our zipper tape and a zipper pull. On my main body fabric, I have gone ahead and marked a hole from the template for the grommet connector. I want to begin working with my D-ring tabs. I need to draw a line down the center. And because my hardware is 3/4 of an inch, this piece of D-ring tab is 1.5 inches. I want to place a line of double-sided tape right down that center line. Peel the backing and add my strip of waterproof canvas right down the center. Want to redraw my center line on top of the waterproof canvas that we just added, and that will be where I can that line will be where I can fold to the center. Adding double-sided tape to each side of my center line. Peel off the backing and fold everything to the center. Peel off the remaining double-sided tape. You could also add clips and just take to your machine and top stitch. But I just find double-sided tape kind of helps keep everything together just a little bit better. So now we'll take this over to the machine and top stitch down each side of our tab. And we only need about 2 inches for each tab. This was just a scrap piece that I had. So I'm going to go ahead and trim this down to have 2 2-inch tabs. Now we're going to work with our main body panel. We want to take our zipper, put it right sides together or face down, and base this on at 1/8 of an inch. Take one piece of your lining, which is my waterproof canvas, and I'm going to add it face down, lining up the raw edge at the top and the sides. And we're going to sew this on at 3/8 of an inch seam allowance. Fold open your seams, Pull everything nice and tight. Put a nice crease. Make sure our sides are lined up. We're going to flip it back over, and we need to top stitch both of those together. Take our main body fabric, not including the lining, just our main body, fold it up to our zipper so that it is right sides together. Add a clip and baste this on at 1/8 of an inch seam allowance. Now we need to take our remaining lining piece and we are going to put it right sides together on the back side of our zipper. So our waterproof canvas pieces are right sides together, and adding it to a zipper sandwich with our main body. So it's right sides together with our main body with a zipper in between. Add a clip to that, and sew on at 3/8 of an inch seam allowance. Now once we get to this part, I like to undo my zipper so that it makes it easier to top stitch the side that we just attached together. So I'm pulling these apart, pushing down my seam, and top stitch along this other zipper at 1/8 of an inch. So you should have your main body, your zippers on both ends, and your lining pieces on the inside, right sides up. So now we want to add our zipper pull. I want my grommet to be facing me, so I want my zipper pull to go on the right side to the left side so that it closes on the opposite side. So I'm going to fold my zipper together, my grommet on the right side, and add my zipper pull. Add a couple stitches here to secure our zipper so our pull does not come off the end. And we need to turn our pouch wrong side out. So stitching that zipper shut just keeps our pull from coming off. With that together, we can find our center of our main body panel and just do a small snip there, and the same on the other side. Now we need to fold our lining pieces right sides together. Line up the sides and the bottom. And we need to stitch the edges at 1/4 of an inch, back stitching really well and leaving a hole that we can turn through our pouch. It is a small pouch, so you don't need to leave too much room, but you don't want to make a small hole either. So we want our zipper to stay together right here at the edges, so just past the exterior and the interior lining, not stitching through those. I'm going to stitch my teeth together. So I'm going to hold my teeth together, start on right at the center, and then back stitch over. And I do that so I don't push those teeth apart. So now we have our zipper teeth closed together at this end here. You should have your lining tube and a body tube. Take the center point that we clipped and line that up right on the center between your two zippers, and add a clip all the way across. The same thing for this side. Line up our center point with the center of our zipper teeth. Add a clip and add a clip. We need to take our lining piece and do the same thing with the center mark of our seam that we stitched together, lining up with the center of the zipper, and add that back piece to the clip that we had for our front panel, and they should line up. So making sure our center is center with our back center. I'm going to do the same on this side. So line up the center of our lining on the center of our zipper. And add our clips. So now we have a flat lining and a flat exterior all clipped together. I like to hang my D-ring clasp from the side where our zipper closes. So we want to go into the side where our zipper teeth are open, add our D-ring, and slide it in between the exterior layer and our zipper. We don't want it hidden on the lining piece or your D-ring's going to be stuck in your lining. And I just leave a hair out, and I'm going to baste that on so it doesn't move, and just kind of line that up with the zipper center so that everything is straight. So I've just added a little basting stitch on this end to secure that tab so that when we sew our side seams closed, it doesn't shift, and it also gives it a little extra security. On the other zipper end, I'm going to add my tab between the main body and that zipper, lining up the edges and the center with my zipper, and baste that on. Stitch down the entire side, including the zipper, your main body, and the lining at 1/4 of an inch down the side. And we'll go ahead and trim off any excess zipper. Clean up our threads and heat seal our threads and zipper end. So now we have our exterior and our interior. We need to pull everything through our hole in the bottom lining. If your zipper pull is not open, go ahead and use your finger to open that. I find it easier to pull my zipper pull through first, and then work the lining through from the back side or the exterior first. So once I get all of that through, poke out all your edges really well. It's going to be really important to poke these exterior edges out with your finger so that you have a nice, clean, crisp corner. So you can go in between the lining hole to get to the exterior to poke out those corners really well. And then again through your lining, making sure there are no seams. And you should have a little pouch. Now you could leave it like this if you want, but we need to box the corners. So now I'm going to turn it back out through the zipper. So my exterior lining, or my lining will be showing on the outside. So I'm not flipping back through the hole, I'm just turning inside out through the zipper. Poking my corners out really well, making sure there are no lumps in those corners. If you need to, you can use a chopstick. So now our pouch is inside out through the zipper with our lining showing right sides up. A couple threads. I'm going to move my zipper slightly towards the center, and I like to pinch my sides, pull those tight, take my chalk pencil and mark a center point line even with our center mark going right towards the edge. So I'm going to pinch that right down the edge. That's the line we want to use. I'm going to stick my thumb on the interior, pinch that line down to match up this seam here on the side. You can see the seam, and we have, so you can see the seam here, and I have my chalk mark here. I want this chalk mark to line up with that seam on the other side. So seam, chalk mark. Take our tab template tool, line up our triangle we have here with our center line, and we need to draw a line along the bottom of this template with our chalk pencil. Draw a line right across the bottom of this template. Making sure our line seams stay lined up. Add a clip to the sides and stitch across this line that we just drew straight across the triangle. And we need to repeat for the remaining 3 corners. We need to seal up our lining bottom. So I'm going to do that before I turn my bag right side out. If you give your pouch a little tug at the corner seams where we backstitched, it'll create a natural fold. We can pinch those 2 sides together. If you have a sew-in tag, you can add that into the bottom seam. Add a couple clips, and then I'm just going to stitch at a stitch length of 1, a tiny little stitch to close up that lining piece, just make sure your exterior is pulled out of the way so you're not stitching through your exterior as well. Once our lining is stitched up, we can turn it back right sides out through our zipper hole. Give your corners a nice push out. And check and make sure everything lines up nice. If it's a little bit wonky on the sides, you can flip it back out and restitch what you need necessary. So now we have our cute little bag, and we still have our marking for our grommet hole. Right. So we have our marking for our grommet hole right on the front there. So I'm going to show you how I install my grommet holes now. Okay, so I have my KamSnap press, I have my punch base, and I have a 12mm punch die. This part just screws right into the top. Now I'm going to unzip my pouch, find my side with the circle from our template, slide both the lining and the exterior over my base, line it up the best I can. So I'm going to gradually drop my punch to line up my circle. Once I have it lined up, I'm going to push down with my hands along the side. Make sure your zipper and everything is out of the way underneath. Use your fingers to hold everything down. And it takes quite a bit of pressure and push down on your press. You'll hear the pop. Release your press. Carefully take your pouch off. And now we have a hole punched through our pouch, going through the lining and the exterior. I need to change out my base to my grommet die. This one, big one, goes on the bottom. The top goes on the top. Screw those in tight. So we want to take our grommet top side, push that through the exterior. Our thin piece goes on the interior. Going to slide both of those onto the grommet, onto the press, and push down. Remove from the press, and our grommet hole is set, and our pouch is done. For the clear version, I have cut out one main body piece. I have cut out a strip for my tabs that is going to be 3/4 of an inch tab, so I've cut it at 1.5 inches. I have cut 2 1/2-inch strips of jelly that will line the edge of the zipper when we attach that to our main body. And then I have zipper tape and my zipper pull. Now we want to work with our D-ring tabs, whether you have 2 pieces or 1 piece. We want to fold it towards the center, and since I'm working with the clear vinyl and it's a little bit more difficult to use, I'm just going to add a couple clips, and I'm going to do one side first before I work on the other side. Fold our other side to meet that middle point. and top stitch down at 1/8 of an inch. And now, since we want 2 D-ring tabs, we'll fold this in half and we'll cut that down the middle. We'll take our main body piece, our zipper, and double-sided tape. And we want to run double-sided tape along the top edge of our vinyl on the back side. And I'm going to add it on the other end as well, right up against that edge. Peel off the back side of the double-sided tape and lay it along the bottom of your zipper about 1/8 inch from the edge of our clear piece. So we have our main body lined up just above the edge of our zipper tape. We need to add another strip of double-sided tape along the top of that. And if your machine doesn't like double-sided tape or you struggle with that at all, you can just clip it in place and top stitch our accent piece right on top. But I'm going to take our accent piece, lay it about halfway between our clear vinyl and our zipper, lining everything up to make sure it's straight. And top stitch at 1/8 of an inch across the bottom of our zipper. So now our stitches are hidden behind the line that goes right through our accent piece along the top. Now we need to burrito our main body panel back up to our zipper. We're going to remove the backing, line up our side seams so that they match, and remove our double-sided tape to adhere our main body to our zipper tape. So roll this side up, line up your sides, right onto our zipper tape. Now we'll separate our zipper. And we need to add our accent piece onto this side as well. Double-sided tape. Move the backing and add our accent strip just above the edge of our clear vinyl. Now we need to top stitch along the edge of our accent vinyl. Now we want to take our main body panel, burrito it together, and we need to add our zipper pull to the end. You can leave one end open, add a couple stitches to the end if you need to secure your zipper teeth together. It can be helpful to have a little bit of extra zipper teeth on the end here when constructing, just so that we can turn this inside out by unzipping the zipper. So now we're inside out with our zipper attached. We want to line up our zipper teeth and find our center point. Make a small snip. Line up this side. Find our center point. Now we want to open up and flatten out our pouch, lining up our mark that we just made for our center point along the middle of our zipper teeth, and lining up these raw edges and clip that together. And the same for this side, but we need to keep the zipper teeth closed. So you can add a clip to hold those together. Line up our center point and our raw edges. Clip that together. We can take our tabs that we made earlier, fold them in half with our seams, or raw edge seams to the inside, and slide that in, lining it up center with the zipper tape. And depending on your preference, you can let it hang out. You can have a little bit larger tab, and you're just going to line that up center with our zipper, and we'll add a clip there. This is on the closed end of the zipper. If we want to add a D-ring or a swivel hook, we'll add that onto the open end of our zipper so that you have that closed when it's hanging. So for this one, I can add a clasp. I'm going to slide it on with our fold side raw edge to the middle. Fold our edges in and slide that in on top of the zipper, lining up the center of our tabs with the center of our zipper. Just kind of slide it on in there. And I don't like my tabs to be too long on these, so I'm just going to clip that to hold that in place. And now we need to stitch the edge with a 1/4 inch seam allowance. When we approach our tab area, I am going to use a hump jumper, and not that my machine can't go over it. I don't want my machine to push the tab crooked, so I just put this under my foot to give it a flat platform to go right over without pushing that off center. I'll turn it around and we're going to sew up the other side. Because this is a clear bag and we're going to see everything on the inside, cut off any excess zipper tape. And go ahead and seal those zipper ends and threads. Now we have a flat pouch. We need to take our tab template tool, and it has a little triangle area right here, and that's going to help us box our corners. I like to pinch the side of my bag and make it a good seam. If you have a chalk pencil and you can see it, you can line it right up along this edge and make a mark. You can also use a ink pen, and we only want to go about 1/4 inch down, right along that seam. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up the bag, line up that line that I just drew with this side seam. So we're creating a triangle in the corner. lining up my center mark here with our center stitching on the back side. To make it a little easier, I'm going to add a couple clips at the bottom, one at the top just to hold it while I add this side, keeping it as straight as we can, making sure everything's lined up. Take your tab template tool, line that triangle up on the center mark, and mark across the bottom of the template. When we remove that, that's going to be our stitch line for our boxed corner. So keeping everything together, I'm going to come over to the sewing machine. Keep it nice and flat, lined up center, and stitch down that line. And now we need to repeat that for the remaining 4 corners. Clean up all of our threads. And turn it right side out. I really hope you enjoyed this tutorial of making these 2 boxy bags. If you go on to make some of your own, I'd love to see your creations, so please tag myself, Joleelee Creations, and Oklaroots, the maker of this pattern, in your post. We'd love to see them. If you haven't already, please like and subscribe to my channel below, and you can also follow me on Facebook, Creating with Joleelee. Thanks, we'll see you next time. If you haven't already, like and subscribe.